What's up, everybody? Hoka 93 in the place to be. I apologize if there was a delay. I didn't hear the dink, the bing that goes off when normally, start broadcasting. So if there's a delay in this video with me just standing there looking like I don't know what I'm doing. I apologize, and I just gave you my explanation for why that was. But anyway, welcome back to the Wrestling Corner. It's season 6, if you've been keeping count. And episode 1, so it's the first episode of season 6. And it's very apropos, as the saying goes, the term goes, very apropos that the first episode of the new season is on the first pay-per-view of the new era of WWE. And that pay-per-view was Payback 2016, which emanated from, I'll say Chicago. No, it was Chicago. Yeah, it was Chicago. Normally Extreme Rules is Chicago. Chicago, Illinois on May 1st. So that's also very fitting that the first pay-per-view of the new era was on the first day of May. And that rhymed. And not only will I be giving my review for, Payback 2016, I'll also be, talking a little bit, giving my thoughts about the Raw that took place after the pay-per-view as well. And just for those of you that probably was wondering, if you were, I don't know, but there was supposed to be one more episode, or actually no, 2 more episodes of season 5, which were supposed to be reviews of TakeOver Dallas and WrestleMania 32. And unfortunately, even though I'm, as of right now, I'm currently on break from school for 2 weeks. But during that period of WrestleMania weekend, I was, it was during, I had to catch up with finals. I had to worry about my finals. So, I even had notes that I took for TakeOver. I watched TakeOver again, and I was gonna do the review. I think the Saturday after, but once again, I just got too caught up with my finals. And then after time went by, it was just like, it's all about timing with reviews. And it was like, after a while, it just got to the point where I think the time has elapsed. So, but if just to give my quick thoughts on TakeOver Dallas, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I've watched, I watched Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn about 3 times, and in all those times I didn't get tired of it. It was probably the best match of that weekend. And as for WrestleMania 32, I didn't hate WrestleMania 32. I thought it was a fair show, despite withstanding the kind of lack of build that it was given. My main issue with WrestleMania 32 was the booking decisions. I think for me, WrestleMania 32, and I was talking to my friend Nate, after watching WrestleMania 32, we had the same sentiments that, there really wasn't a bad match, like a horrible match. Most of from the undercard was just the booking decisions. I think the only match that kind of goes down a peg is probably the Roman Reigns Triple H match. I felt that match was way too long than it needed to be, and that's not me taking a personal dig at Roman Reigns, which it seems to be the trend, but it's just that match was way too long. And in fact, WrestleMania 32 was way too long. If you count the pre-show along with the main show, WrestleMania 32 was about 7 hours. So you just got to think, if I didn't watch the pre-show, so I only watched the 5 hours because the pre-show was like 2 hours, started at 5. But for those that watched the pre-show, and more importantly, the people that were there, sat through 7 hours, which is almost unheard of a of a wrestling event, unless it's, let's say, an indie show that does their DVD tapings. You know, 2 shows. They do two tapings in one day. I think NXT does a couple of tapings. They like in one day or 2 days. But in terms of a pay-per-view, you don't hear that. You know, WrestleMania 32, I think, went way too long, and there was, and it kind of, some fat could have been cut out of it, especially with, you know, the Rock segment, which really went long, and to the point where it's almost like, is this just the Rock's entrance? But I digress. So I digress about WrestleMania 32 and Payback Dallas. But on to the topic at hand. Payback 2016. This was, I believe, the 4th Payback event. I believe Payback started in 2013. And I believe there was a situation where, because normally Extreme Rules is the pay-per-view after WrestleMania, but I think there was like a mix-up or something with arrangements of getting the arenas. I forget the reason for why it switched from Payback now being a pay-per-view after WrestleMania instead of Extreme Rules. I forget the reason why. But I actually did not mind it for the fact that Payback by name just sounds like Backlash. And for those of you that know Backlash was basically the revenge pay-per-view of WrestleMania. Mostly it was the rematch pay-per-view. You know, if whatever was at WrestleMania, there was a rematch at Backlash, probably with a different stipulation. So by name, Payback sounded pretty befitting to be after WrestleMania, because there were times where it's like at Payback, it's like, okay, this pay-per-view is called Payback, but at times it'd be like some of these matches in the card are first-time matches, so they're really not fitting the card's theme of Payback. And funny enough, it was kind of the same this year. Most of the matches were first time for, well, AJ Styles was the first time for everybody, but some matches were first times only for main roster views. So they were pretty fresh in the main roster eyes, eyes, because you had the likes of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Yes, for those that have watched them since they watched their feud in Ring of Honor, and for those that watched their feud in NXT, it wasn't a first time deal. But for main roster viewers, yeah, that was a first time thing, first time encounter. So it made it fresh on the main roster. Dean Ambrose and Jericho was a pretty fresh matchup. I believe they've had run-ins, you know, back when Dean was part of the Shield. I remember Jericho teaming up with Sheamus and Ryback, or it was Ryback and Orton. I think it was one or the other, and he went against Shield. But I don't think him and Dean actually had a one-on-one match. So that was a pretty fresh matchup. Charlotte and Natalya, the history between them, is very storied, or becoming storied. So there were some matches that were fresh, just like, Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler, even though the feud is fresh, but, Now, speaking of Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, speaking of them, I was actually looking forward to that match because of the build-up. I'm just seeing my eyes direct off the camera because I'm seeing if there's any comments. But so far, no. I was pretty into the feud going into Payback. And but I think an hour or 30 minutes before Payback started, I find out that that match was pushed to the pre-show. Now, for those of you that have been watching the corner, you know, for a while, you guys know that most of the time, I'll tell you straight up, I don't watch the pre-show. You know, no matter what the match, because I just feel, well, it's the pre-show. I don't. I'm really not paying no interest in the pre-show. Now, there's been some cases, yeah, that I'll watch the pre-show, but when I found out that Baron Corbin and Ziggler got pushed to pre-show, it was almost at the point where I think it was at the almost the time where the pre-show. So I was thinking, well, I already wasn't watching the pre-show, and I'm hearing, oh yeah, Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler's going on. I'm thinking, wait a minute, hey, why they push that? Why they push that back to the why they push that to the pre-show? Because the only pre-show match was Ryback versus Lethal, which I heard and seeing when they showed the replay later on in the pay-per-view, I heard and seen for myself that looked to be a pretty great match, probably the best match that they've had against each other. So there is a part of me that I even said that probably I will go on and check the pre-show, you know, hearing the good feedback. But so I can't give a review on the two pre-show matches because as normal, I don't watch the pre-show. So we kick off the show. Kick off the show with the New Day coming out, basically kind of promo, basically endorsing or endorsing, excuse me, and promoting the new era of the WWE, which has been said since after WrestleMania. It's a new era. It's a new era. It's a new era. All right. I don't even know if the era has a name, because most eras have names. You know, from the rock and wrestling era to the new generation era, to the attitude era, to the ruthless aggression era, to the PG era, which don't even think was acknowledged by WWE. I never heard them say the PG era. That one time, I remember like in 2011, they were starting to call it the reality era. They was trying to push that, but I don't really think it went. And there was during a time where CM Punk was doing, you know, the work shoots. And for that brief period of time where WWE, I'm not going to lie, felt a little bit different in terms of programming. But now they're calling it just the new era. So they don't have a name yet. Probably will get a name. But anyway, the New Day basically came out to promote the new era of WWE, since they are the New Day. And then we go into the opening part, which was kind of odd. You normally don't see that on pay-per-view where it's a promo. That in itself, you really don't see in a pay-per-view. Open up with a promo, like a Raw or a SmackDown. And then it goes right into the opening package. Then it goes into the first match. And the first match was the finals of the number one contenders tournament, which was sponsored by Bootios. And you know what? See, I would like to just run in the other room and get my Bootios shirt, because I did buy a Bootios shirt. I bought a Bootios shirt for myself and two of my friends at school, and they were very thankful for it. And so it was Kaz and Enzo versus the Raw Villains. Simon Gotch, Aiden English, but I really can't give a full-on review for this match because it really wasn't that much of a match. And what I mean by that is, if you haven't seen Payback, basically this is what happened. The match was rolling. You know, Enzo and Kaz did their tag team offense, you know, where it's basically Kaz throwing Enzo into people. And when the Raw Villains got into control, Simon Gotch threw Enzo, And I guess it's supposed to be one of those spots where I've seen it happen to the Usos, where the person throws them almost like they're going to baseball slide them through, but the victim gets hung up in the ropes. So it's like a snap effect. But with Enzo, it was more than a snap. It was almost a whiplash effect because Enzo got knocked out. And now, initially, I thought Enzo was just selling very well that he was out. And then when I see the referee fully on checking, and then when I see Kaz's face almost kind of become like a state of shock, almost like a state of horror, and they turn away from the from Enzo and they kind of switch it over because they was right next to where JBL, Cole, and Byron. They switched to Byron and they ring the bell. That's when it start, okay, this is not part of the deal. Enzo is legitimately knocked out. And it's John. Hey, John, how's it going? Enzo legitimately got knocked out, and they would keep, and he was stretchered out, and they would keep updates. They would keep updates on his status. And later on, we came to find out that it was only a concussion, which was probably the best news that could come out of it. And I was already like, oh, shoot. But the horror really set in when Chris, my brother, my Vernon kid, when he came back from work, and he had to rewatch the replay. And so when I saw it again, and I see when Enzo was down, and he's not blinking, and the way he was breathing like, I don't know if there's a specific term, but have you ever seen videos of somebody getting knocked out? They're just breathing just so rapidly that it almost sounds like a snore. So you didn't hear Enzo snoring like that concussed breathing, but you can tell from his body because his body wasn't, his arms and legs weren't moving. It was just his body going up and down, up and down. And I'm just like, oh shoot, I didn't realize that. And that's when I'm like, oh crap, it looked worse than what I thought it was. But good to find out that Enzo was released out of hospital on the same night. But it led to an abrupt finish, to an opening match. And most everybody knows in wrestling, the opening match sets the tone for the pay-per-view. That's why it's always good to have a good opening match. But with the abrupt finish, it really brought the mood down because nobody wants to see these guys and girls seriously get hurt, especially to a degree like that where you don't even know what's the condition of the wrestler. And B, Kaz and Enzo, and even the New Day, who better to open up the show, to get a rise out of everybody, only for that to happen. It's like, oh crap. It's like, oh, this Vita, 5 guys that are good to bring the mood up, and this happened. 3 of them bring the mood down. So by default, the Raw villains became number 1 contenders, as we found out on Raw. But thankfully, the mood would be picked back up. So when they were down, when they were low, there's only one place to go, and that's up. And that's what happened with the next match. And the next match was Sami Zayn versus KO, Kevin Owens. And hot dang it, Sami Zayn has now taken part in probably 2 match of the year candidates, because him versus Nakamura is a bona fide match of the year candidate. And I'm not even going to say arguably. I think him versus KO at Payback will go down as a match of the year candidate, but this match, probably was better than both of their NXT matches. Now, granted, their first NXT match told a great story. It did, really did. And the second one, Sammy was working hurt, so that's why it ended kind of abrupt like it did. This one, nobody was working, with an injury, and man, they went at it. They let it all hang loose from the get go. They started throwing fists, and already after KO got knocked out of the ring, and Sammy did the suicide flip out onto the Owens, it was rolling, and they kept rolling. There really was not that much of a slow period of this match. And in this match, even when KO got in control, it really wasn't slow. Like, it's like, oh, okay, they're bringing the pace really, really down. And when the frog splash was now become the bull frog splash, which is a pretty proper name. John, at first, I was thinking he broke his neck. Yeah, that was one of the worst situations as well. That just going on more about Enzo just a little bit. That Enzo had such a bad whiplash effect that he broke his neck or something. But once again, that wasn't the case. But with KO and back to KO and Sami Zayn, the bullfrog splash, there was a point where Sammy, after a while, when it started to go started to get to fifth gear, and after you see the steam, once again the pump on that, but once again I always say I'm still surprised that WWE, actually then tried to take that away from Kev, because it is a dangerous looking move. I mean, it's a cringe-worthy move. You look at it like, oh my God, it's pretty painful looking. There was a point in the match where Sammy hit the Michinoku driver, which he's starting to use now. They even did it in Nakamura. And this Michael Cole called it the Blue Thunder Bomb. And I'm just like, you most time always call the Michinoku driver right. To the point where when one time he called it, King was like, King was like, what was that move called, Michael? And it's like, King, you called Taka Michinoku's matches. But he called and it's funny, right after that, Sami Zayn will go on to actually hit the Blue Thunder Bomb. And it's like, so you basically called the future. But that wouldn't get the job done. And I believe after Sammy kicked out of the steam breaker, or he kicked out the bullfrog splash, they roll out of the ring, they're on the apron. And I'm thinking, with guys that come from the indies, they really know how to work the apron, from power drivers on the apron, from power bombs off the apron. So it's like, okay, what they gonna do here? What spot they gonna try to pull up for the apron? Which, by the way, is the hardest part of the ring, the apron. And they're throwing fisticuffs, battling back and forth on the apron, and Zayn runs into a kick, and looks like either Owens is gonna powerbomb him or power on the apron, and Sammy body drops on the apron to a big crash. And I felt that because anytime somebody lands on their spine on, a hard surface, basically a hard, thin surface, it's like, because as your spine is thin, it's like it's making it easy for that thing to hit your spine. So it's like, oh man. And Sammy would hit his signature, torpedo DDT, when he goes through the turbo connectors, hit the DDT, and he would roll Owens back into the ring, and he would set Owens up for the Luva kick, but he would run right into a super kick and pop up power bomb with authority, and 1, 2, 3, Kevin Owens beats Sami Zayn again. So, Sammy still has not gotten his full-on revenge on Owens. You can count a victory with the Royal Rumble, because he was the one that eliminated KO, but he still has yet to have full-on retribution. And coming into it, I had a feeling that Owens was going to pick up the victory. I did not think that it was going to be, okay, Sammy wins and that's it. And then after the match, Owens will slap Sammy and throw him out of the ring. At first, I'm thinking, okay, I think I know where it's going. I think Sammy's going to get back and, beat the hell out of him. Basically, justifiable reason for, Sammy to still want revenge. He probably would have still after losing, but it doesn't make him look like a sore loser. Or, it's like, okay, he got justified. He got beat up after the match. And Kevin Owens, he calls Byron to the ring to basically give him a post-match interview. I basically enforced a forced self-match interview, post-match interview, and basically, KO basically announces his refocus on the Intercontinental Championship, to the point where he was going to go on to sit down and provide commentary, and some entertaining commentary, and he basically kind of put JBL and all in the shame. Especially JBL, since JBL was supposed to be the heel commentator. And he basically, in that match, the commentator would be the Intercontinental Championship match between Cesaro and the IC champion himself, The Miz. And this match, once again, I don't think there was really any bad matches on Payback. But this match was really one-sided. I mean, despite Miz working a little bit on Cesaro's, shoulder, where his injury was, but despite that, it was all Cesaro. Cesaro whipped Miz's ass. And here's the thing. It's like Miz wasn't even coming into Payback with momentum. So him getting his ass whipped just made it look even worse. That why did you guys even put the belt on him? If you wasn't gonna give him any momentum after his whole thing with Ryder, he didn't have any momentum going into Payback, because he got beat up again by AJ Styles on his show. He got robbed by Roman Reigns on his show. He lost to AJ Styles and Roman Reigns on the same shows that when they beat him up. So it was just like, okay, I mean, Cesaro, gut wrench suplexes, his signature superplex from the apron, from the Euro uppercut train, ride, all the very European uppercut, and he pops up and it's just like, he is whipping the Miz's ass. And it was to the point where I thought the Miz was going to get a surprise victory when Cesaro charged him and he missed Miz and he ran the shoulder in the post, and Miz hit the skull. I was thinking, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me! Like, the Miz is going to pick up the win after that, and Cesaro got the kick out. But also some highlights of the match, not just Cesaro whipping the Miz's ass, but was also, once again, the commentary that was provided by KO. Like, there was part where KO was like, I can beat both of these guys from the Intercontinental Champion. And here comes Michael Cole. It sounds to me like you're convincing yourself that you can, beat these guys. There comes KO. It sounds to me like you're convincing yourself that you're a good commentator, but we know that's not true. And I'm like, and then KO was like, he was like, come on, Miz. And they're like, oh, it's like, KO is pulling for the Miz, yeah, I'm pulling for him because I said his name. No, he didn't say like he said actually, come on, Mike, like, yeah, because I said his name. And it's like, Byron, you just go call your mama? Come on, come on, I mean, Miz. And it was just, I'm telling you, if there's anything, once again, talking about commentary highlight, KO when he was commentating the Intercontinental Championship match. But despite his entertaining commentary, it have to come to an end because Sami Zayn came back and resumed where they left off and started wailing on KO. And after the scorecard finale and Cesaro kicked out, because that's when Sami Zayn came out and started beating up on Kevin Owens. And Cesaro would lock on the crossface. And at this point in time, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will get on the apron to continue fighting. And while the referee is distracted by this, The Miz is tapping out. Cesaro one right there, but the referee didn't see it. But Cesaro sees the two friends on the apron and realizes you guys are interrupting my match. And he knocks both of them off, and The Miz just, revives from the dead. Schoolboy Cesaro holds the title, gets to 1-3, and I'm just like, wow. I'm like, that did not make The Miz look any more credible than he did coming into Payback. He still looked like a fluke champion. And for those of you that know, I'm not the biggest Miz fan. And I've seen the story before where he comes back or he adds something new to his repertoire in terms of character. And by result, he gets the Intercontinental or the United States Championship. Lately, it's been the Intercontinental Championship. And it goes on to amount to nothing. And I'm just like, I've seen this story before. And so I know what's going to happen. But they pulled a fast one. I'm just like, you might as well just have Cesaro win. I'm just thinking because they didn't make The Miz really like a fluke. Because he not only did he lose, he would have lost. He got his ass whipped for a majority of the match. And it's like, and you can tell there's going to be a fatal four-way, which could just give The Miz another chance to win because it's fair four-way. He can just pick his spots. But he just looked, I'm just like, sure, just took the ball off him. Then what was the point of giving it to him? And after The Miz would win, he would go in the barricades. Cesaro would upset at basically getting screwed by Miz pulling the tights. Will uppercut him, throw him in the ring, hit the neutralizer, but unfortunately he would fall victim to a super kick by Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn will come back after Kevin Owens only to get Papa again. And when Kevin Owens went to go Papa on The Miz, Maurice helped save The Miz. But Kevin Owens' last shot we saw was with him with the Intercontinental Championship. Once again, set him the fatal four-way. So Cesaro unfortunately lost to The Miz. And hopefully You know, that was just to build up the fatal four-way because once again, I don't see what's the point in keeping the belt on the Miz when this guy mostly loses all his matches, even though he's champ now. After Ryder, he mostly loses every other match. And not even every match. He gets beat up on his own show. And he was doing that even before he was champ. Got his ass whipped with his title defense and basically tapped out and would have lost if the referee wasn't looking. And then wins because holding the tights. It's like, yeah, he really looks like a fluke. See, there's only comments. John, how many times have you said IC champ the Miz and it feels like the title is always on the Miz? The Miz is believe it or not, is a 5-time IC champion. And I've never felt like that, where when I say I had IC champ the Miz, and I'm just thinking, man, it's always on him. Because like I said, it's every time he comes back, either from a movie or he adds something to his character. Because once again, he got the IC belt after he got the IC belt when he came back. What's the IC belt? Yeah, he got the IC belt in 2012, excuse me, when he came back from filming whatever, I think the Marine, the first time he filmed the Marine, and he beat Christian. And he actually will hold on to that pretty long until Kofi beat him in, I think, October. Then he got it again. He got it again. Talking about, like, once again, when, like, he comes back. When he came back with the Hollywood gimmick. Because he won that Battle Royal. He won the Battle Royal. And I believe then I think him and Ziggler like started playing hot potato within the IC belt. So this time the new wrinkle in like his character is he has Maurice. He's brought his wife. He brought his wife with him. But when they said the Miz is a 5-time IC champ, all thing I said was, and most of those 5 reigns have not amounted as much to that. His 5 reigns of IC champion haven't even amounted to how much credibility his first real United States Championship reign, when he really started to get over as a mid-card heel. Those 5 reigns haven't even amounted to that. They haven't even amounted to, in my opinion, his first United States Championship reign. They haven't. They just haven't. So, oh man. Anyway, the next match on the card would be, I don't have the card with me, I'm just going on the order with my head here. I think the next match on the card was Jericho versus Ambrose. Yeah, it was Jericho versus Ambrose. When they're coming into this, basically the feud was about, Jericho feeling humiliated that Ambrose or Shane McMahon, basically canceled his show in favor of the Ambrose Asylum, which were going to be canceled on this past Raw by Stephanie McMahon. And the match, I didn't mind the match. I remember seeing somebody in a group that I'm in on Facebook saying that most of the other matches were good, but they felt the Jericho and Amber was the worst out of all the matches. The only reason why I can see somebody saying that is probably there were moments in the match where it seemed like miscommunication that kind of, or that miscommunication that like miss, or like that kind of slowed the match down. Like it looked like it's getting building, now all of a sudden because of a mishap, they like have to recover. But other than that, I did not mind the match. I felt that the two, put some interesting, counters, like when Jericho went for the, signature triangle drop kick, and Dean caught him and hung him up on the ropes to hit the lunatic elbow drop. And I think of some others. I mean, there was a weird moment where Dean, I don't know what Dean tried. I don't know if he tried to do his elbow drop, but Jay-Z, basically Jericho caught him midair with the wall of Jericho. But the way Dean fell was just like the L. And I'm like, what was that? And he get locked in the wall of Jericho, he would make it to the ropes. And it was an interesting part in the match where Dean tried to do the dirty deeds on the announcer, basically get retribution on Jericho for you doing the walls of Jericho announcer. And once again, I don't know, I think I've said this before in the corner, but the wall of Jericho hurts as much on the announcer as it does in the ring. That's why I never understand when commentators like, oh my gosh, the walls of Jericho on the announcer. I'm thinking, you're making it sound like the pain has been increased. It hasn't. But you try to go for the dirty deeds on the announcer table. Jericho would try to go counter it and try to go for the walls of Jericho announcer table. But instead of, Jericho getting his, I thought he was going to get spun off the announcer's table. Like Dean's going to, spin him off. Instead, Jericho slingshots Dean off the announcer's table into the timekeeper's area. I was like, that was different. I'm like, that was new. You normally don't see somebody get slingshot off the table into the crowd, or into the rings, or into the timekeeper's area. So I was like, okay, that was pretty interesting. That was pretty new. And it would lead to like a false count out. Dean would make it back at 10. And hold on, guys. Phone call. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I turned off the microphone. Instead, I turned off the camera. I was supposed to turn off the microphone. But anyway, so there, and I don't know about you guys, but because I've been watching Jericho for so long, there, it never fails to amaze me. I mean, I can't help but always laugh in a Jericho match because the sound Jericho be making, like itchy, itchy. It's just like, yo. I mean, there was a point where I think Jericho ducked a clothesline, and when he's turning around, but you can't even tell, like, is he really looking at Dean? He's like, and he just hits an Enzuigiri, and it's like, oh. And they say the finish would come. Dean would throw a flurry at Jericho. He would get elbowed down, and Jericho try to go for the lion salt, but Dean got his knees up. And then Dean would lock on the double underhook from the ground. And at first, when he did it, and I was hearing Jericho, I'm sort of thinking, oh, is Dean going like for, a submission, like a guillotine butterfly lock? Like, oh shoot, Dean's gonna add a submission move, to his repertoire, like a submission finisher. But all thing Dean was trying to do was trying to get Jericho up on his feet, and Jericho would still be trying to fight the dirty deeds, but then Dean would start throwing knees and finally hit a pretty brutal dirty deeds, and Dean would get the win, which he needed to after his loss to Brock Lesnar, which I'll just give a little bit of my thoughts on that. I feel that match should have went to Dean, and that match did not help Dean how it turned out. Because by the time Dean started getting offense, it was already over. Brock already hit the F5. And it was like Dean hits the dirty deeds on all the chairs. And I understand it's Brock Lesnar, but the whole thing during that buildup was that it was going to take a whole lot to keep Dean down. And I didn't really get that from that match because I'm thinking Dean's going to kick out this F5, this first F5. It's going to take like a whole plethora, like a whole assault of F5s to keep Dean down, and just took one. I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. But anyway, Dean will pick up the win, and seeing from this Raw that just took place, the feud is going to continue, especially now that the highlight reel is back. But more importantly, because Jericho freaking broke freaking Mitch, the plant that was on the Ambrose Asylum, over Dean's head. John, you have a comment. I think the Miz's best title reign was the tag title run he had with Morrison. That was another good reign, but that was him. That was him with Morrison. I'm just talking about his as by himself. The Miz and Morrison reign, yeah, that did him a lot of favors. It did Morrison favors, but I think for me, in my opinion, in terms of his singles reign, I think his first two United States Championship reigns, because when he won it the first time, he held it for a while, and then Bret Hart beat him for it, but then Miz got the belt right back. Hey man, I'm not mistaken. No, I'm not mistaken. Miz won it he held it 3 times during his top mid card heel run, because he won it from Kofi, and then Bret beat him for it, and I think then Bret relinquished the belt the next night, and he got the belt back. I think Miz got the belt back, or I'm mistaken, R-Truth got the belt. R-Truth got the belt, and then Miz took it from him. So I think either Miz held the belt twice. Yeah, I think he held it twice before he cashed in and became WWE champion. Okay, so After that match, after the the Jericho Ambrose match, we move on to the women's championship match, and it feels so good now to officially say that it's no longer me saying it as a way of disacknowledging the Divas Championship. Now, when I say women's championship, it's not only because I'm saying it in respect, that's what it's now called again. It's called the Women's Championship. And you've seen Charlotte and Natalya go at it. It's great. They have great chemistry. They really do. And they have great chemistry. Their NXT takeover matches were put Charlotte on the map. They showed she had the goods. And with this match, the crowd was into it. Even though you had the few "We Want Sasha" chants, and I agree with my friend Nate. Come on, hop off that a little bit now. Show the ladies a bit. You guys can say, you guys can whatever you want, but first you guys are cheering for us, man. Now I'm knowing "We Want Sasha," and then I think they try to throw a little bit of, we want some Bailey chants. Like, yo, come on, settle down a little bit. Just settle down a little bit. You make it seem as though you're. I understand, like, if the match is so bad that it's like, oh yeah, we know that we want Sasha because she'd probably make this match better. But I think you guys know, I think the most fans would know that, okay, it's Charlotte and Natalya. We've seen their matches. They're most of them always good. So, and it was, especially, the roadblock match there. So it's like, it's no different. It's no different. And this time, but just like the takeover match, Ric Flair was in Charlotte's corner and Bret Hart was in Natalya's corner. And, match will go on. A lot of early sharpshooter attempts failed by Natalya. And then Charlotte will start working over Natalya's leg after a while. Natalya sold it very well. Natalya, I believe, is a really good seller. And there was one of the high points of the match was when Charlotte tried to go for the moonsault the first time, and Natalya just shoved her right off. Then it was another where Natalya tried to go for, I think, either a baseball slide, or I think Charlotte just pulled her down. It looked like she was going to powerbomb her on the apron, but Natalya, like, Hurricane Rona'd her onto the floor, and Charlotte went face first. And, then I'm trying to think, did Natalya even get a sharpshooter in? I don't even think she got a sharpshooter because Charlotte would hit the moonsault, which was a thing of beauty. She got a beautiful moonsault, which is very funny because most time wrestling, people who have beautiful moonsaults wind up missing, like Kurt Angle, Cody Rhodes. There was a time when anytime Cody Rhodes did his moonsault, he would miss it. Even Victoria had a beautiful moonsault, and she would miss it. Most times she did it, it would wind up being a miss. But Charlotte actually hit it this time. She had that on swing, which was a thing of beauty. And Charlotte would then lock on the figure four. She didn't lock on the figure eight. She just locked on the figure four. And Natalya reversed it. Then there came after hitting the moonsault, so Charlotte. Also, thinking about. I should just roll my notes. Natalya also kicked out Nationals, which I'm not sure if it's just. I don't think it's the move's fault, but the crowd's reaction wasn't as if they took it as a finisher. I guess because Charlotte hasn't been. I guess one of those cases where Charlotte hasn't been winning. If she does win, it's not because of the natural disaster. It's because they're at a figure eight. or Flair. So I'm not even sure the fans took it as, oh shoot, she hit the natural. I did because I'm like, okay, it's a natural disaster. And even might call it a natural disaster. So when Natalya kicked out, I was kind of expecting a bigger reaction. I'm thinking, oh, that was a false finish. But Natalya, but that wasn't the case for the crowd. And later on, I think after Charlotte hit that, or after she hit the moonsault, she would lock on the sharpshooter. I'm thinking, all right, here we go. I'm thinking, you have to, just to put salt in the wounds. Now I'm about because Natalya's move is also Brett's move. And when she did it, she was facing Brett. And then the unthinkable happened. Ding, 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 ding. The bell starts ringing. I'm thinking, wait, what the hell? And then Charles Robinson rushes out of the ring, gets the bell, rushes in the ring, gives it to Charlotte, and he's hightailing. I'm thinking, yo, they just screwed Natty. They just pulled off a Montreal screw job or a Chicago screw job on Natty. And it was a little bit of a mixture. I kept saying it was a mixture of 1997, 1999, even though, Michael said, oh, it's 1997 revisit because the Montreal screw job. But I was thinking it's also 1999 because, I didn't watch WCW in 1999, like that. But, reading up that, found out that, Charles Robinson became like the biased referee for Ric Flair. He would pull off screw day, and that's how he got the name Little Nate. Because also referred as an idol, referred as his idol. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is 1997, 1999 revisit, merge into one. And then, Brett would get in the ring and, he's looking at Flair like, what the hell was that? Flair tries to deck him, but Brett counter and decks him. And Natalya gets back up and Charlotte tries to deck her with the belt, but Natalya sweeps her up and both, hearts lock from the Flairs and the sharpshooter and have them both tapping. And then this just, I got to give a little bit of critique. Then right after that, Charlotte, she's near the stage and she's raising the belt and she's just smiling like as almost like nothing happened. And there's one thing, and I even said it on the group that I'm in, there's one thing I got to critique Charlotte of. It's selling. I like Charlotte. I really do. But when it comes to selling, like long term, like remembering that you're like supposed that somebody will be hurt at times. Yeah, it's almost like that she forgets that because she got put in the sharpshooter, and she's tapping like a wild girl and everything, and sharpshooter is supposed to hurt your lower back and your legs. And she's not favoring any of that. She just gets the belt when she's on stage and just smiling and raising the belt, thinking, do you just forget you was put in the sharpshooter? Just like, and I brought up another example was when the match that started it all, when Natalya made her tap and, the referee called the bell on Flair for disqualification. Then Charlotte just gets back out like nothing really happened and grabs her bell and raises up and then just rush out of the ring when Natalya charged. I'm thinking, yo, you're not even selling the sharpshooter. And then another case was when Sasha came back. When she came back at Royal Rumble and she attacked Charlotte and she damn near almost bent her in half with the bank statement. And when Sasha leaves the ring, Charlotte just gets up on her knees, just staring a hole at Sasha. I'm thinking, yo, I don't know. If I'm not saying, I don't think she rolled out the ring or whatever. I'm like, you just got damn near broken in half, and you're not even selling that. So there's just one critique I have for Charlotte. It's the selling. I'm a big fan of selling it because it's something you should have to do. You're making people believe that you're hurt or you're hurt more than what you actually are. especially if you're a face. I know Charlotte's a heel, but when you're a face, you definitely have to have good selling because you're supposed to make people feel for you when you're in pain. But I digress. So Natalya would get screwed, and there really wasn't no real repercussions as far as Charles Robinson goes on the following Raw, the Raw that last night. It really wasn't. Shane and them, neither Shane or Steph came out and like reprimanded Charles Robinson for doing what he did. Only thing it was the Flairs endorsing Charles Robinson, saying, "Oh, you had nothing to do with that," and yeah, I did it. And out he goes, and Natalya puts a sharpshooter on Ric Flair, and it's announced that Extreme Rules that it's going to be a submission match between Charlotte and Natalya. But this time, Charlotte's father, Ric Flair, is going to be banned from ringside. That's the only thing that came out. There was no repercussions for Charles Robinson doing what he did. Which, it's like you would have thought Shane would have tried to do something. Both of them in charge. Speaking of them both being in charge, yeah, that would be the next segment, which ran. Which ran. Wait, I think that was either the segment. I think that was the segment after the Charlotte and Natalya or before the Charlotte and Natalya match. But that segment ran too long, especially when it was just Stephanie and Vince. It's just like, okay, this is going for way too long, don't you think? And it just led to, okay, yeah, them sharing, ownership of Raw. 50-50, like basically Bischoff and Vince. Bischoff and Austin, which was a good time on Raw. And which brings me to John's question. How long do you think Shane and Steph will get along? I see something happening something's going to happen where things are going to heat up. Yep, unintended. Things are going to heat up around SummerSlam. And if it doesn't have something's going to happen at least something at Survivor Series. Because it's like, even on this past this on this Raw, even though Stephanie didn't do anything outright heelish to Shane, she tried to play nice to Shane. She did do some. She canceled the Ambrose Asylum, which was almost like a heelish move. She asked Ambrose to be, I'll be your guest host. You can ask me anything. But that came across heelish. So probably SummerSlam or Survivor Series. I don't know. But this thing just proved that it's all about Raw. They don't care about. It don't seem like SmackDown's anything to care about. Because even when Shane came back, he said, "I want to run Raw." So, and basically, if you run Raw, you basically run WWE. So you run Raw, you basically run SmackDown. So it's just like if they do this, if the rumors are true that they're doing this, they're gonna do a brand split. It's like you gotta do a whole lot to make SmackDown mean something, because all the talk has been Raw, 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 Raw. Want to control Raw. Want to control Raw. Want to control Raw. You control Raw. You control everything. So if they're gonna do a brand split, the first objective is to make SmackDown mean something again. Back when the brand split did happen, it was something. It wasn't just the second show. At one point, it was the better show. In 2002, 2003, SmackDown was overall better than Raw in most people's eyes. Even though Raw, roster-wise, was full of star power. Because you had Triple H, you had Triple H, you had RVD, you had Jericho, you had Kane, you had Shawn Michaels, you had Booker T, you had The Rock, you had Austin, you had Goldberg, you had Kevin Nash, you had Scott Steiner. I already said Triple H. So you had all these stars, all these stars, especially in 2003, and SmackDown was putting on the overall better shows in a lot of people's eyes, including mine. You know, and they had Lesnar, they had Angle, they had Eddie, they had Benoit, they had Chavo, they had Rey Mysterio, Big Show. Probably one of Big Show's best runs when he was when Paul Heyman was writing SmackDown. You had a young up and coming John Cena, the rise of John Cena during that time. You had Undertaker on there. So but it's funny. So it's like Raw had all that talent, all that star power, but SmackDown was like pulling off the overall better shows. But once again, if the rumor is true that they won't burn it, the first objective, my opinion, is to make SmackDown feel that as though it's not just, oh yeah, it's the secondary show. So now going on to the main event. Roman Reigns' first title defense since beating Triple H at WrestleMania against the phenomenal one, the number one contender, AJ Styles. First time ever match. So that was pretty interesting. That, you know, for a main event, it was the first time ever. So first time ever main event, first time ever encounter. And this was a good match. This was, especially compared to, if you want to, basically it was the main event that Roman needed, especially after the WrestleMania main event. Because it's just like, yeah, you need to really top that main event. You know, not a lot of people like that main event. And, you know, it's funny coming in, they were saying, you know, AJ, you know, he doesn't want to get in a fist fight with Roman. There's no way he's going to outstrike him or anything. But by watching that match, man, freaking, if it was a boxing fight on point in terms of like shots landed, my God, AJ was just outstriking Roman. I mean, man, Roman, of course, outpowered AJ, especially by hitting his schoolboy transition to a powerbomb to him in a big sit-out powerbomb. But I mean, AJ, man, those forms of AJ, man, oh man, those forms of AJ, man, those things, they sound like they hurt. And I was saying, man, if Roman doesn't leave this thing with a dislocated jaw, I would have been surprised. And now you say AJ and Roman stole the show. I think it sounds weird. I think firstly, I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stole the show. So if you're gonna say that AJ and Roman stole the show, it's almost like they stole the show from Kevin Owens and Zayn that stole the show previously. So they stole from the original Steelers. You know, and I think once again, it's not a dig at Roman Reigns or even AJ Styles, but you know, it was a lot of. I think when the extras came in, because I think the match was already good. Don't get me wrong, but I think when the extras came in is when really like the like the drama or the the thrills started to come into effect, because once AJ, when he hit the phenomenal forearm onto outside when Roman was there and he went through and they went through a announcer table, which something I've never seen before. Now I've seen AJ hit the his phenomenal elbow, forearm, a lot of places. When I saw him do it, now first I'm thinking either Roman is going to catch him, because I'm thinking, wait, this looks too far or something. Or something don't seem right. And they went. I'm like, oh crap! They went to the table, and then it leads to a count out finish where AJ rolls in the ring at 9. I first think AJ's gonna roll back out. Roll the ring at 9 and 10. I'm thinking, there's no way you guys are gonna end the pay-per-view with that. Yeah, AJ wins by count out because he rolled in the ring at 9 and he failed to roll back out. So they didn't restart the match. So Shane comes out and says, "Oh, this is not how it's gonna be done. The new era. Restart the match." So AJ gets Roman back in the ring, and Roman kicks out. Then AJ goes in the title and he jumps at Roman, and Roman, just throws a punch, but it goes on to be a low blow. I don't know if it was intentional or just Roman just defending. He just threw a punch and it just happened to hit AJ and blow the belt. And AJ sold it well. So I was like, if it's low blow, AJ sold. Like, yeah, he got hit in the ball. I got hurt. And the referee calls grappling. I'm like, I know you're not going to end it like that. And Stephanie comes out and restarts the match, making it now no disqualification. And once she said that, it was like the countdown and your head just went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here comes Luke and Carl, Carl Anderson. And I believe, Reigns, he hit, I think, 2 Superman punches. After AJ tried to go for the final forearm again, and he got Superman punch in midair. Then finally Carl Anderson, who guys came out, and they beat down Roman, and they hit the boot of doom. And AJ gets to I think he hit the phenomenal form again. He hit it again, but Roman got his foot on the ropes, which I was okay with because the only thing that Stephanie and Shane changed was that there was no rope breaks. No countouts and no qualifications. So rope breaks still in effect. My only issue is when they say there's no rules other than pinfall and submission, but then a rope break happened. They're like, oh my gosh, a rope break. I'm thinking, hey, isn't the rope break a rule? So shouldn't that not count? But anyway, so there'll be the rope break, and I believe Carl and they try to get back. And that's when the Usos came out. Yeah, that's when the Usos came out. And the Usos came out and they started, fighting off with Carl, with Anderson and Anderson and my God, Gallows. And AJ would go on the top rope. And Roman would push him up onto Anderson, or all 4 of them. Then Roman Reigns would put on his Superman cape and fly in the air and land on all 4. So I was like, you first throw AJ onto your cousins, and now you land on your cousins. And I first thought AJ was in the fray, but next thing you know, AJ is in the crowd on the apron and hits the phenomenal form on Reigns. Now I remember AJ hitting the Superman 450, but I'm trying to remember when did he hit it. Because Roman Reigns did kick out of that. And he goes for the phenomenal form again. And that's when Reigns ducks it. AJ lands on his feet into the spear. 1, 2, 3. Reigns picks up the win. Retains championship. Pretty, good match. More than good. And the match that Reigns needed, especially after that WrestleMania main event. And I feel that they didn't really need to have the count out finish to do because it wasn't like really the no countouts really played a role after it was over, because the whole thing that happened outside between the Usos, Luke and Carl, and then Reigns landing on them and throwing AJ on them could have happened in a regular match with no countouts. The only thing that was played in effect was no DQ. That's the only thing that was really played in effect. So I'm just saying they didn't really need to do the restart the match because of a countout. They could have just did it with because the DQ. So I don't think they had to do 2 restarts, in my opinion. That was just a case of overbooking. But I don't think really the overbooking really harmed. I don't think it really harmed the match to where really brings the match down. Like, oh man, I'm not too much a big fan of overbooking, but if it's done in a way where it's like, okay, it wasn't that bad. All right. But I'm trying to think of something. Now, saying John, like, to me, they're making the Usos look weak. To me, I don't think they're making the Usos look weak. To me, I think they're making the Usos look like instigators. And what I mean by that is because on the following Raw, oh, by the way, I thought Finn Balor was going to come out. Me and my friend Darnell was saying, oh, yeah, Finn's going to come at Payback. You just feel it. And especially when Luke and Carl got on the apron, they just stood there staring at Roman for a while, thinking, why are they just standing there, not just coming right in at first? I'm thinking, Finn's going to come right behind Roman. But that didn't happen. I think Finn's coming. But anyway, I think they're making the Usos look more like instigators. They're just as much instigators as Luke and Carl are. And what I mean by that is because this past Raw, there's a locker room segment between AJ and Carl and Luke, and because right after the match, Shane and Steph basically said, "Oh yeah, AJ Styles definitely deserves a rematch. He's guaranteed rematch." And so Reigns comes into the locker room by himself, as it seems, and he basically tells AJ Styles that after Payback, you got my respect, but I don't respect your boys. I'm like, okay. But then he gonna say, but Payback just showed that, I can't beat a man by himself. I'm thinking, see, Roman, it was all good until you had to go say that. So then, on a cue, they come in, and all 3 of them face off. And, basically Roman challenges them to, a 6-man tag. So then a 6-man tag happens. And, hey, Shadow God for you. What's good, Hulkin? I'm all right. How you doing? It's been a while. So, so the match takes place, and it's a pretty good 6-man tag match. Roman Reigns gets the boot of doom, which is pretty interesting. He gets the boot of doom onto the barricade. So it's almost like it was a flapjack onto the barricade. And AJ goes on to hit the phenomenal form, I think, on Jay. The match is over. And after the match is over, Anderson and Gallows, they bring in Roman Reigns. And they're holding on body arms, and they got a chair, and they basically first they just like, well, what you guys doing? Then they're like, you know what? You do it, AJ. And AJ thinks about it. At first looked like AJ's gonna do it. And then he lets go of the chair. And as soon as he lets go of the chair, he's showing that, you know what, I'm not about this. Basically, I'm not about that life anymore. The Usos, one of them comes with the chair and wallops AJ in the back. So after they fend off Luke and Carl, AJ does what any other person would have to get in, walloped in the back with a chair. He does the same thing to the Usos. But that's when Roman Reigns wakes up. And that's the only thing he sees. The only thing he sees is that AJ, hurt my cousins. So he Superman punches AJ. And he goes on to beat up AJ. And while he's beating up AJ, all of a sudden Michael Cole and all the commentators just conveniently forget that what took place before that. They conveniently forget that AJ did the right thing by letting go of the chair. They conveniently forget that after letting go of the chair, after showing that he's no longer a threat, the Usos decide to go hit him in the back. And they conveniently forget that AJ just does what anybody else, just in self-defense retaliates. It's just all you don't mess with Roman Reigns' family. You're not supposed to mess with his family. I'm thinking, why don't you guys? What do you guys have? You know, a short attention span. You guys, why don't you guys be objective? Why don't you be objective and say, hey, hey, like, you know, you can understand Roman because that's the only thing Roman Reigns sees. But let's face it, AJ Styles, you know, he tried, you know, he basically did the right thing, and Usos, like, it's like, so me and Chris was saying, I even put up in the wrestling, and people were like my comment, and agreed that you put in the wrestling chat that was twice that the Usos instigated a situation with Styles because the night before the Raw before Payback, AJ tries to reason with the Usos. What happened? One of them wallops him in the face. So what does AJ do? Okay, you punch me in the face. Okay, I'm gonna hit you back. But Michael Cole didn't want to make it seem as though, oh, he's with. It's probably just maybe it shows that he actually was like. Why don't you guys call it what it is? AJ is retaliating because the Usos are taking it upon themselves to assault him. And I'm just like, yo, I get Roman Reigns, you know, and the Usos, their family and all, but where's somebody to say, be a little bit objective and say, we can understand Roman Reigns because that's the only thing he saw. But what he did not see is that the Usos was the ones that attacked AJ Styles first with a damn chair. So while you, John, say that they make the Usos look weak, I feel the Usos are may look at instigators as well as Anderson, and they're as much as instigators as Anderson and Gallows are. They become the Usos lately have become annoyances to AJ Styles. They have put AJ Styles in a situation where it makes AJ Styles, in terms of Roman Reigns' eyes, you know, look like he's the bad guy. When only thing he's doing is what Roman Reigns would do. You hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. So it's like, dude, so it's like you guys are just as bad as Anderson and Gallows. Just as bad. Keep instigating stuff. Check out real. I watched Payback last night, and my theory about Finn Balor coming to the main roster might be around SummerSlam or be at the show itself. If Balor does not come at Extreme Rules, then they're probably around SummerSlam. Reason being because I see the whole Bullet Club thing, or Bullet Club or Balor, or whichever one they're gonna call it. They're gonna call it the Bullet Club, the Balor Club. I've seen shirts, the Bulletproof Balor Club. They're probably gonna be that, the Bulletproof Balor Club. Either way, I see this thing being the program of one of the main programs of the summer. So it's not like, yeah, like the League of Nations, like, yeah, this was just a stable, but they weren't the main focus. No, I see it as like when the Nexus came, when the NWO, you know, like, yeah, they're not only a stable, but it's actually the main angle. So that's why I see Finn still coming around the summer to build something towards SummerSlam, or it might build something towards Survivor Series. So it's going to be probably a team thing. And hold on, I'll be right back. Uh, so yeah, that's why I see Finn probably. He's probably coming once again around the summer, lead us something to SummerSlam, or the lead us something to Survivor Series. So that's basically my review for Payback 2016. And overall, you know, it's the first pay-per-view of the new era of WWE. Once again, I don't know if this thing gonna have a name eventually, because it's a new era. You know, just like me and my good friend, you know, Kyle, would say, you know, we would joke on how in Gotham, the freaking Gordon would just, it's a new day. It's a new day. Every episode is a new day. So like it's a new era. You keep saying it, it's a new era. It's a new era. So overall, for the first year of the new era, it was overall good. You know, despite you know the BS finish between Natalia and Charlotte. You know, besides that, and besides, unfortunately, you know, the scary injury to Kaz. Yeah, not Kaz, Enzo. Besides that, you know, Payback. You know, man, this was the fourth Payback. Probably overall, probably could have been. There's only been four Paybacks, but so you really can't do a top five because you gotta wait till 2017. But yeah, for pay-per-view still almost like an infant pay-per-view in terms of all the others. That was probably the best Payback. So I think, I don't know. So yeah, I'll probably check back and watch the past Paybacks. But yeah, that was over a good Payback. And, I didn't find the song too fitting. You don't have to dance. I'm thinking, what does this guy do with Payback? And then Extreme Rules, they announced the theme song for that. No disrespect to the artists that have singing these songs. It's not a personal shot at them. It's just these songs do not fit these pay-per-view themes. Payback, I don't think we don't have to dance. I'm thinking of trying to think of a song right now. I think of freaking well, I can think of like Metallica. I can think of a Metallica, Sad But True. I think of that, for Payback or something. Payback, it can be sad, but true. You're gonna have to get payback on somebody. Or for Extreme Rules, I'm not even gonna say Drowning Pool Bodies, because that's like the stereotypical, the generic Extreme song now. But for Extreme Rules, I don't know. You can use Metallica. They already, Ace of Spades. They use Ace of Spades for, take over England. But I just think of that. I don't think of we don't have to dance. And then last year, I think it was. Who is that?
Just like a thing.
Yeah, like if you don't like that. Like you can't find somebody for they can't use somebody's lyrical thing. Just use an instrumental thing, which somebody would do back in the past. But I'm trying to think of that. But yeah, I don't think of like last year Extreme Rules. It was I think it was Fallout Boy. Or I'm like, what is that? I'm like, that ain't nothing extreme. But anyway, yeah, Paydown 16. Yeah, great good pay-per-view. Shout out for you. How would you book the Bullet Club debut? I think it's pretty, for me, I'm sticking to it. AJ is going to get tired of freaking Anderson. Gosh, shit. Going to get tired of it. And they're going to get tired of him. You know, they're going to get tired of him getting tired of them. And either they've already came with an ulterior motive, like, okay, if AJ does one more time, all right. Finn, you got to take him out. If Finn shows up and probably gives AJ one more chance to come, and AJ refuses him, all right, and they beat AJ down. And well, there you go. Or I don't know, it's going to be like how, you guys remember when Shawn Michaels came part of the NWO? Yeah, which sounds so weird that he was part of the NWO. But remember when he became part of the NWO, mostly every promo he would get close to the camera and be like, and what I want is Triple H to be part of the NWO. Like, he just kept wanting Triple H to be part of the NWO. Or it could be like that, you know, Finn's going to keep giving AJ chances to, all right, join. But then it's like, Finn was the initial leader. So that also played a role too, that he was the original leader. And now he's probably going to feel that AJ is not fit to be. He wasn't fit to be the leader, after, when he left. He's not fit to be the leader now. He's definitely shown that, he has compassion for his fellow man. Which is going to be pretty, once again, find it pretty interesting that Finn's probably coming in the main roster as a heel. Because most time when somebody comes from NXT, they come up as what they were when they left. Like Apollo would arguably probably came too fast, but Apollo is a face. Baron Corbin is a heel. Neville was a face. Sammy, face. KO, heel. Becky, face. When Sasha came over, she was still a heel. When Charlotte came over, she was a face. So Balor's probably going to break that trend. He's going to come over as a heel. And personally, I've never seen Balor work as a heel. I know he has, because when he started Bullet Club, he was a heel. That was his heel turn. But once again, we don't really here in America has instant access to a New Japan show. You're probably going to get that delayed, or now that, Access TV show, you probably saw it there. I think they're now showing 2015 shows now. So Finn's already gone. Finn's was in NXT at that time. So I'd never seen Finn work as here. I probably can just go on YouTube and watch one of his matches. But anyway, but point is, never seen Finn work as here, and it's going to be interesting that it's probably coming up, he's probably coming up to the main roster as he. So I got to read, the theme for Payback was decent, but I missed the days of pay-per-view themes fit with the pay-per-view. For example, Survivor Series 2003, One Biscuit, Bill. Don't bring up Survivor Series 2003, because Built a Bridge. No, the reason why I Built a Bridge by Limp Bizkit went with Survivor Series 2003 is because that song is probably Limp Bizkit's most saddest song. It's got a sad ding 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 ding. It's very sad. Oh man, look at that on the shoot. Hold on, guys. But anyway, I was saying, Build a Bridge is a pretty sad song. As far as 2003, I still feel it's one of the darkest in terms of, because after Team Angle beats Team Brock, only all the faces loses. All the faces lose. Lita loses, the Guerreros lose, the Shane loses to Kane. No, and then Team Austin loses to Bischoff, which really upset me, man. When Batista screwed over Austin, I remember I was so upset. After Survivor Series was over, I popped in WrestleMania 19, the game for the GameCube, and just beat the hell out of Batista with Stone Cold. That's how upset I was. I mean, and Goldberg, no, Goldberg won that, but Undertaker lost. He got buried alive by Kane in his match against Vince McMahon. So it was like a pretty sad pay-per-view. So that's why I always felt that Build a Bridge when Survivor Series 3 is a sad song, and Survivor Series 3 is a pretty dark Survivor Series in terms of me, my darkness. Like, yeah, most of the faces don't win. And then John 3 Stain, Price to Play, which is one of my favorite songs of Stain. Avengers 2003 is a badass pay-per-view. If you haven't seen Avengers 2003, check it out. It's probably one of the best brand exclusive pay-per-view. It was SmackDown's first ever pay-per-view. I think out of all the brands, I think the top two are Vengeance 2003 and Vengeance 2005. So both Vengeances. 2003 was for SmackDown, 2005 was for Raw. And the headline matches for 2005 were Triple H and Batista, Hell in a Cell for the champion. Probably Batista, in my opinion, probably Batista's best match. If you don't count the Undertaker matches. John Cena defending his WWE Championship against Christian and Chris Jericho. Very, very, very entertaining triple threat match. There's really not a dull moment in that match. And most time, me and Chris, you watch it on the sample disc that we got for the history of the WWE Champion DVD that came with the big package for SmackDown 2007 when you pre-ordered it from GameStop. Yeah, we put that match on repeat because the commentary is pretty funny, and it's all around exciting match. One of John Cena's favorites. One of my favorite John Cena matches. Then also the sequel of HBK and Kurt Angle from their WrestleMania match. So they had 3 big matches and all of them delivered. So, yep. I'm trying to think of anything else before I wrap this shindig up. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I do not think so. I do not think so. Oh, wait a minute. I think this word is that I think Ryback is soon heading for the exit. Exit stage right. Exit stage left. Yeah, I think Ryback is on his way out. I think he's tired of WWE. Look like they're going to push him all of a sudden. No, stop. Check out one more Bad Blood 2003 Headstrong. Yeah, 2003 people had a lot of good themes. Yeah, you had Headstrong by Trap, which is a good workout theme. What else? You also had, heck, the one time they did it, No Way Out 2003 was the only time that WWE ever used Evanescence for a theme. Was it their big hit sing? What's the actual name of the song? And Wake Me Up Inside. Oh, yeah, and also WrestleMania 19 with Crack Out by Limp Bizkit. Yeah, I love that theme. That was another thing that got you pumped up, especially when there was the Rock and Austin feud. Also, Backlash 2003, by Cole, Remedy. All right, so yeah, 2003 had a lot of good themes for pay-per-views. And a lot of good themes, not only a lot of good themes, but also by some good bands. So yeah, stuff like I miss that for pay-per-view. I mean, granted, seems like with NXT, seems like for sure doing NXT, yeah, he's keeping that for NXT. Most of the things that are used for Takeover NXT, yeah, there are these alternative rock songs that get you pumped up, right? Um, for Takeover Dallas, it was first they used a song by Yellow Wolf, and they used that, which is a rap song. Then they used a song from, I forget the band's name, but I think it was called Mayhem or so. So as long as you hear Mayhem, okay. I'm not talking about WCW Mayhem, which me and Chris watched the opener not too long ago. And by the way, our younger cousin used to be scared of that intro. You guys don't remember the Mayhem intro? Remember it was Goldberg. He's being created, and things go haywire, and he's all that's where our cousin would get all scared. And then it's just all comedic when you got the workers getting tired. Get down. It's like, oh my God. So, and by the way, Mayhem, in terms of game wise, yeah, it's not one of the most recommended wrestling games. I mean, especially when how they walk. They walk like that's something sticking up their ass. Like, hey man, what's up with this? It was made by EA. It was made by EA, and then they made Backstage Assault. And I think that was the last WCW game. So I was like, so WCW game, they never retained their glory from Revenge. After Revenge, that was it. And I have WCW Thunder. It was for the PlayStation, I think the N64. And that is no. I mean, I think the best thing from the Thunder game is the little rants that you can play from wrestlers like Macho Man. Macho Man. Don't even forget. It's like, oh man, it's classic. And DDP, hey monkey boy. The controller picked Diamond Dallas Page. And and Anvil. Anvil's one was entertaining. Anvil's just entertaining, period. AKA Gobby, Blue Gobby. Yeah. But so yeah, John, I heard Wade Barrett's Dallas contract. Yep, he's not going to renew his contract, which is the reason for why they had him get beat down. That was storyline wise or on screen wise for why you're not going to see Wade Barrett. Because yeah, another one that is kind of basically fed up with his role, and he wants out. And I mean, I feel that if if the person's fed up and you're not going to do anything to appease that, then yeah, you should let that person go. Because what's the point of just keeping them there, just getting more fed up? And it's very funny. I was thinking about people leaving because Jack Swagger left too, but he didn't leave out being fed up. Because he even said, this is my last day when it's doing a live event. But what was interesting is that they had Jack Swagger and Ryback. Okay, but there's a reason for Ryback. But they had Jack Swagger and Ryback on the graphic for the United States Championship and normal contenders, for the United States Championship Battle Royal. And neither of them was in it. Now, the reason for Ryback is, wasn't he sent home? Yeah, he was sent home. Huh?
He's off of TV.
Yeah, he's off of TV. But with Jack Swagger, I'm thinking, I was like, wait, what's Jack Swagger doing on that graphic? What's he doing on that graphic? He's gone. I think that's just WWE just being lazy, just like they are with the pay-per-view sets. Yeah. That's another thing. So Shaq, you talking about themes for pay-per-views? Also with my musical themes, also the sets used to fit the theme of the pay-per-view, which is no longer the case. The only pay-per-view that gets a uh, a change up or a makeover is WrestleMania. I would think, okay, if you're not going to do it for the B show, you at least do it for a Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, which lately has become the black sheep of the granddaddies, you know. And Survivor Series 2015, wasn't none better. Was no better. But if there's no any other comments, then we're gonna wrap this shit and dig up. I thank all you guys that actually participate in the comment section. That being John, Shadow Guy, SGR, SGR. No, SGR stands for something else. It's an actual acronym. But I thank you guys for participating in the comment section, and anybody else that will go on to later watch this, when this is uploaded. Thank you guys. And the Wrestling Corner, this was episode 1 of season 6 in Wrestling Corner. And you can check for the Wrestling Corner. Best day to check is either Monday or Tuesday. So probably check, during Monday, during Raw. If you don't see it up, then yeah, check around Tuesdays around, 10 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock the latest. So the Wrestling Corner is back. And whatever comes up in the week, will be discussed during, on the next show. And also, I think I'm probably going to start doing some just not live, but just topic videos. They'll be part of WrestleCon, but they won't be live. They'll just be based on one topic. So yeah, that's something to also look forward to for United Wrestling Corner Matt. And also, hey, feel free to pitch ideas for like a theme of the corner. When me and Chris would do it, hey, we will always say, hey, the time be just open forum. But hey, you can just drop a message or so and say, hey, you think you can, do a corner or you're, talking about this thing or so, like if it's like, worst finishes in a match or, worst cases of overbooking, you name it. Not like that. Hey, feel free to just drop a message in there or PM and say, hey, you can do this on the next corner. So I'll be more than willing to do it. As long as I'm not getting hurt, I'll be fine doing it. Anyway, this is Hope 93. Always in the place to be. This was Wrestling Corner episode 1 of season 6. And until the next corner, you guys stay easy and peace.